Hello! Let me fill you in on what I've been up to in the studio the last month, and I'll catch you up a little bit. Let's begin with the 2025 calendar. Since I enjoyed making last year's calendar so much, I decided that I'll try to make the calendar an annual project. I've been really into making small illustrations this year, which you guys have seen in my sketchbook. And so this year's theme, I followed a similar format. It was a mix of memories and little moments I sketched throughout the year, and every page of the calendar pairs 2 illustrations. So they're like little stamps that link together across the months. For example, January matches December, February matched November, and so on and so forth. Once the printing was done, I added these perforated lines to each page, and this means you can actually tear them out and use them as postcards. And actually, my friend Yana said that she saved up her 2024 postcards and she used them as part of her Christmas wrapping for the end of the year, so I thought that was a really cute idea. So even though sometimes the process of finishing all of these calendars felt a little bit slow, it was also a peaceful way to end the year. And I just love knowing that the calendars are going to be all over the place on someone's wall, on someone's desk throughout 2025. And then we did Unlimited Edition, Chris and I. So we basically had a table at the Seoul Art Book Fair. It's in this museum in the northeastern part of Seoul. And basically for 3 days, we were there, we had our books, we had my calendar, and it was really fun and really successful. Met some really nice people, not only the people who visited our booth, including some of you who might be watching this video. Thank you so much if you came by and said that you watched my YouTube videos and saw me at the book fair. That was really cool. But also the other exhibitors who were all super nice, and some of who came from really far away. It's always fun at book fairs, looking at all the booths. And of course, I gathered a few goodies for myself too. I'll show you a couple of them because I have them at the studio. So a lot of things I got from the book fair were as gifts to other people, but something I bought for myself is this fabric book. So my friend Gina at Kiosk printed or helped produce this fabric book this year. This is just 1/3, so you could buy this is they're ABC, or you could buy the whole collection, and they're all these different fabric swatches from Artist Proof, who is a silkscreen printer here in Seoul. And I just thought it was really cool how realistic the digital prints came out. These are actually digital prints on fabric, but because they're scanned from originally silkscreen prints, they have a really cool texture, and I feel like it came out super realistic. So this is really cool to have. And another book I got, well, I did take some of them home. I also found this really cute risograph comic about baking bread in France, and it's in Korean, which will, I think, inspire me to do a little reading at the beginning of the year. Yeah, there were so many great finds. Here are a couple of the other ones I picked up. I also couldn't resist picking up some stationery for myself while I was there. Another thing I bought at the book fair was this calendar by Seoul Potpourri, who is also a risograph printer here in Seoul with a much more extensive ink collection than me. Very cool little calendar with different mini illustrations for every day, and kind of this creative, you can change the days of the weeks with these little strips of paper. So while I don't have footage from the fair itself, I have a lot of studio clips of what I was printing beforehand. To wrap it up, being part of Unlimited Edition, you're surrounded by people who love books and printmaking. So it's always a good time, and it really inspired me to participate in more book fairs this year. So hopefully I'll get to visit a few more cities in 2025. Probably still in Asia, but maybe even one day back where my parents live in California. Okay, now let's take a little detour to the post office. After finishing Unlimited Edition, I actually sold out of all my calendars, so I had to do a reprint, and people had also pre-ordered calendars at the fair after I ran out. So this is me packaging up some of them, and the day after the book fair, I actually ended up bringing like 12 packages to the post office to ship them out. I've been coming to my local post office so often over the past year and a half that the staff now know me, and they're honestly the sweetest. And perks of knowing your local post office workers include getting invited to eat strawberry cake behind the checkout counter. And once the calendars were mailed out, I came back to the studio to digitize everything. It's something I always try to do to keep an archive of my work, both for the web shop and also for myself. And I like to look back and see how things have evolved year after year, especially when it comes to physical objects that don't live on their own on my computer already. One of my big personal projects this year was finishing a daily sketchbook. 366 drawings, one for every day of 2024. You might already know, I used a Hobonichi Tekko, which I've talked about before, and it's been really satisfying to fill every single page. As the year went on, I noticed how my style has changed, and I started playing around more with themes and different ideas that I want to turn into bigger projects this year. So for 2025, I've already picked out my next sketchbook. And looking ahead, I'm planning to create a more commercially printed artist book. So I'll be doing all the planning and designing, but I want to get a large commercial printer to actually fabricate the books. And that's just a process I want to know more about this year to kind of open up the possibility of making different types of books, bigger editions, and all of that stuff. But I still love making zines, and I'll also continue doing that this year. In 2025, I also want to try lino cut printing, and I've already gathered some of the materials to start, so I'll be back with you very soon to experiment and see how that goes. And that's a wrap on 2024. For more from my studio, like sketchbook updates, behind the scenes, and other extras like brushes and color palettes, you can check out my Patreon. Here,